Welcome to the lunation situation. Today we're going to talk actually not about a lunation, but about another astrological important event. And that is the impending change of Pluto about to enter Aquarius, but yet it is now at the last degree of Capricorn. And this is super significant, and I'm going to explain to you why. This is an important period to watch out for, and it starts February 11th, and it lasts till March 23rd. And in this, approximate month, we find ourselves at a very critical moment. So 29 degrees of Capricorn is what we call in astrology an anoretic degree. So it's like this energy that it is built up. It's like pumped up. It's at the height of that sign, but it's at a critical sign where it's like pushed right between two signs. It's about to change to Aquarius, and yet it's still at Capricorn, and that like that standoff between the that last degree of Capricorn and the beginning of Aquarius is creating this tension-filled energy at that last degree, 29 degrees of Capricorn, where Pluto is at. So this is obviously a critical time, right? A critical degree. And when we look at Capricorn, this represents politics. This represents leadership. This represents, important CEOs or organizations, bosses, important figures that we know. This is also bigger systematic situations where, again, it's about political systems changing, crumbling, I would say, with a Pluto and a Capricorn. But let's dissect that a little bit later. So 29 degrees of Capricorn is affecting many topics related to Capricorn, right? So, okay, let's dissect that. Pluto. Pluto is the planet of crisis, destruction. It is about the end of something. It's about the death of something, and something needs to die off because it's not in our soul's favor. It's not correct. It's not correctly built, specifically in Capricorn. So something is dying. Something is ending. And it needs to, because Pluto is that transformational energy. It's this crisis cycle where something ends, and so actually it doesn't just end, it can begin again, yet anew. So the idea of Pluto is also rebirth. But after Pluto has destroyed everything and burned everything down, and there's smoke and ashes everywhere, and from that destruction, you rise from the ashes stronger, more powerful, more knowledgeable, and ready to step into your power. And so a whole new part of yourself is born. That is Pluto. And Pluto is also, of course, it's the Lord of the underworld. So it's anything hidden, anything about mysteries, secrets, mafia, corruption. It's about the unseen that is underneath, right, everything. So it represents literally under the earth as well, the underworld, anything dark. The whole way that Pluto works is that it like excavates the dirt, the ugly, the dead, to bring that to the surface, to expose the brutal truth of what actually is going on. The Pluto need to look at, you know, the whole truth in all the colors that it is, in everything that is truly going on, seen and unseen, right? And especially the unseen. So it's like that dig up energy that just goes really deep. Pluto goes very deep. It goes to the last bit of shit, right? And it digs it up, and you have to face it. There is no way, there is no discussion with Pluto. It's very powerful. It's very forceful. It's also about psychology. It's also about your subconscious, where a lot of that dirt and hidden psychological processes and patterns are at. That is also part of Pluto energy, that it digs up your own issues regarding that sign and that house that Pluto is in. And of course it does that collectively as well. So all the dirt in the consciousness, you know, it brings that up as well. So it's about that deep transformation, that deep alchemy of you know, facing the shadow, facing the dark side of whatever. In the sign of Capricorn, as I said, this is about politics, leaders, big organizations. This is about systems, so anything, you know, bigger and in at the front in our world. So economic systems, finance, right? But big corporate systems, CEOs, leaders, bosses, all this is affected by Pluto. And it is interesting that when Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008, that was when the housing crash happened in America. So this is also about, you know, the housing market, you know, or markets, so stocks, bonds, whatever, you know, affecting many people in the public, right? This is about public figures, public situations, public institutions. And Pluto being in that sign was about destroying all the, you know, bad fundament of whatever was built. So it literally was able to collapse and bring crisis to the things that weren't built well. So literally houses or housing market or finances or, you know, politics situations, anything that was dark and hidden and wrong, corrupt around these Capricorn themes were excavated, were digged up by Pluto these last approximately 15 years. And we find ourselves at that very critical point where Pluto is at the last degree of where it has been for the last long years, right? And in those years, we have experienced many changes. Big political changes, big, as I said, market changes, economy changes, and of course, we've also dealt with a worldwide, health crisis that is continuing. And I personally believe that the earthquake in Turkey and Syria was also related to this, even though it technically happened when Pluto was at 28 degrees, which is still very close to that critical degree, right? So it was like a forebode of Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn, where literally structures are crumbled that weren't made well. And that is so Pluto in Capricorn. And now Pluto, Capricorn, 29 degrees, we're all on this whole earth are going to experience the Pluto effect. We're going to be shown, we're going to see what is wrong about these systems, about these public systems that affect so many people and are just like, wrong. Because the dark side of Pluto is very dark. It's very intense because it's the Lord of the Underworld. It goes deep and it penetrates, all the way into all the areas. So, Pluto also kind of rules, criminal aspects as well. And, fraud, corruption, abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, power abuse, and, topics like that. So when it goes extreme, when it goes dark, it goes really dark. So we need to keep that in mind as well. These are also topics that can come to light, because as I said, Pluto energy is that digging energy that digs so deep that it brings that darkness, the unforgotten, the unseen, the what we didn't want to face. It just brings it up and it's like, you are going to look at this because this is part of your reality. And not facing it doesn't mean it's not there. So it's really forceful. That's why Pluto is very related to power. And so is Capricorn, power. It's rulership, right? That's why it is also about leaders. So 29 degrees of Capricorn is very, very, very confrontational and very conflictuous. So it is very likely that we're going to meet problems around these Capricorn areas. Pluto is the end. Pluto is the death of something. 29 degrees is critical. Change. Heightened, pressurized energy. Capricorn, public life, what we see, So adding those three together, what could we face? We could face economic upheaval. We could face buildings crumbling. We could face, that is very literal, but it could also be, of course, more less literal and more about, again, marketplaces crumbling, financial systems crumbling. This could also be big political changes or big leadership changes. This could be the end of them in some other form as well, like Pluto rules death, right? Capricorn also is about the military. So expect heightened forms of that. What is really interesting is the chart, because if we look at Pluto entering the critical degree, 29 degrees of Capricorn, a lot of interesting things are happening in the sky. The birth chart of something is always significant, not just your birth chart. That's very significant for you. But any kind of beginning is a birth chart, right? So if you begin something you know, in your career or your home, it has a birth chart as well. And so even the 29 degree of Pluto is a birth chart. So that happens February 11th. And when Pluto enters that critical degree, it immediately makes a square 29 degrees Libra moon. Like, you can't make that up. That is very strenuous. I say that word a lot. But, you know, I feel that it's the most neutral word I can say. This is conflict. Like, this is not good. This is not easy. And if this is the birth chart, anytime Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn, which is going to happen a few times over this year until it fully enters Aquarius in 2024. So, of course, retrogrades will be involved in it too, but this is the first time it enters that 29 degrees critical point. So this month is very heightened, very important energy, where a lot of the things that I discussed will be seen and will be dealt with. But it's likely to repeat when we have the Pluto going back into 29 degrees of Capricorn. And then again when it goes forward at some other time, right? I'll give you the dates a little later. But when Pluto enters 29 degrees of Capricorn, immediately squares the moon 29 degrees of Libra. Both at the beginning of 29 degrees. The moon represents people, more people, the people. It can represent our collective feeling, our emotions, our needs. And this is very tough energy, conflict energy, battle energy, frictional energy. This is not nice. The moon in Libra wants harmony and love and peace. And Pluto's like, nah, gonna disrupt that one. And in fact, I'm going to show you what isn't at peace, what isn't cooperating, what isn't in balance. It can show the ugly diplomatic side of things because Libra is a diplomatic sign. Can show not so nice conversations. And we will all feel it. This will affect a lot of people. And, you know, if Libra is sort of a peaceful sign, then this is the lack of it. So not so nice. Not so nice at all. Mercury is at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Just entered Aquarius when Pluto enters 29 degrees of Capricorn and goes straight into that square with the moon. Mercury being so close to Pluto is about bringing information about these topics that we just mentioned, about these Plutonian, Capricornian topics. So this will be talked about. This will be in the news. This will be in the media or not, but somehow you will know about it. This is something we're going to learn. Mercury is also about learning. And this will be very much communicated for some reason. And this will be about that hidden, mysterious, unseen, dark, deep side of, you know, systems of ruling. The sun is very near Saturn at the end tail of Aquarius. It's a very serious energy. Our energy is focused. We're having a mature outlook on some long-term issues affecting many people. It is trining that difficult moon Pluto situation. It's trining the moon, so I would say that's nice. Conversation is flowing. It's a serious atmosphere though, affecting many people. You will know about this. Also, Venus is very close to Neptune. You do not want to be in the delusionary energy of Pisces, the lower expression of it. You do not want to escape the reality and be like, oh, I don't want to deal with it, it's too tough to deal with it, and then find negative outlets that are sedating your feelings, are, you know, taking you into illusionary land, fantasy land. You do not want to drown in idealism. You want to really take that Pluto energy at heart and be like, no matter how tough it is, I'm going to face it. I'm going to try as much as I can to look at whatever it wants to show me and work with it. And how can you work with it? If you take it more positively and work with the Piscean energy in a constructive way. This is about faith, prayer, meditation. This is about compassion and unconditional love. This is about creative outlets, about art, about singing, about poetry, about the aesthetic, more beautiful part of life that you can focus on. There is bad escapism and running away from things, trying to not face them, which is never going to work. That's going to hit you in the face, right? Or use that Piscean energy to let it out, to constructively help that letting go process. That Pisces can really, that it's such a beneficial side of Pisces, but it's a higher expression. So it will require maturity from you to have more faith, to look at the spiritual side, to look at the soul expression, the soul need for love, compassion, and the soul's understanding of things are happening because there is a bigger need or a greater purpose for it, without being nihilistic about whatever is going on. Yeah, that's about it when Pluto enters 29 degrees of Capricorn. I'll give you some dates. So it starts February 11th and it lasts till March 23rd, because after that it goes into Aquarius, which is a whole nother deal, and that's another video, right? Then some other dates when it is again at 29 degrees of Capricorn, and that is when it goes retrograde. It's the second time that it enters the 29 degrees of Capricorn, which is between June 12th and July 27th. That's when Pluto is retrograde and it's at 29 degrees, right? Then it goes even further retrograding to 28 degrees of Capricorn, but that's not important. I mean, it is, but 29 is just such a heightened compromise, strong energy that I want to point that out specifically, right? Because that is an energy to look out for. That is a very difficult energy. That's why I point it out. So the third time that Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn is when it is direct again, right? So it enters 29 degrees for the third time, and this time it has learned a lot by being in the 29 degree energy once, and then second when it went retrograde, and it learned much more by going back, right, around the summer. And then the third time, it's like, oh my God, I learned so much. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what to expose. I know exactly what needs to crumble. So this is another very important date to look at, and that is, that starts December the 20th and goes on until the end of the year, on to the new year, right? So these are times to watch out because Pluto is at 29 degrees, critical degree. And, you know, some losses, collapses, crises could likely occur around the Capricorn themes. So that's important to look at. I hope this was informative. And this is not to scare anyone. This is about preparation. Once you know, you are more powerful because knowledge is power. All right. See you in the next video. Bye.